This is Wandering Universe. Today, I'll be exploring a different place on the world map, a continent far, far away on the other side of the planet, the one and only great island that is known as Down Under. Yes, we call it Australia. So, put your seat upright, fold your tray tables away, because we're about to land. So, are you ready? Let's go exploring! Here we are, the one and only biggest island situated in the southern hemisphere of planet Earth. Yes, you guessed it, it's staring at you right in your face. So, let's get into it, shall we? If you think Egypt is the only country on Earth that houses pyramids, think again. There are several countries surrounding the circumference of this planet, as I speak, that contain pyramids in similar style and design structure that still stand today. But in this video, I won't be talking about those pyramids. That'll be for a future video. Today, I'll be showing you pyramids in my country that were recently discovered hidden away in some unknown, barren, far, far away place that you might not have even heard of. You might know Australia for its dusty red outback desert, sandy coastal beaches, rugged mountain ranges, beautiful tropical rainforests, shaggy bush vegetation, and our famous show-off glamazon icons as a tourist destination. Yes, you all know what this is if you've been there, and that is cute. And most of all, I'm sure some of you have been to this part of the country in the Northern Territory, the famous Uluru. But back in the ancient times, Australia was never even heard of. It wasn't even spoken of. No one on this planet knew it existed, and I'll show you what I mean. This is a world map dated 500 BC. Now, take a good look at it. Go on. Set your eyes on it. Look around. Can you find Australia? Well, can you? Is it there on this map? Good luck if you do find it. Let me know in the comments section. Yet, there were very few written texts that elaborate a great southland that was hinted by a few unidentified seafarers who travelled further south. Ancient humans were aware of a place called the Great Southern Land. According to Sumerian and Mayan legends, they were told of a lost motherland somewhere in the Pacific region. Australia was known during ancient Greek times as Antosi on the famous spherical world map of Crates of Malos, the Greek map of Eratosthenes in 239 BC. This is a pre-Sumerian ancient world map, and there's only 3 empires during its time: the Atlantean Empire, the Hyborian Empire, and the Mulanian Empire. But as you can see, Australia hasn't been fully conquered nor integrated into the other 3 empires. Don't you think that's very interesting? Maybe the Aborigines know about this. Let's go on. There was a time of great extensive maritime ocean voyages, not just to the northern hemisphere, but also to the southern hemisphere, but very few dared to try. But some did go in search of this faraway place that was rumoured to be filled with mineral riches. Even a few brave Egyptians, yes, Egyptians, who had the luxury to afford such a dangerous voyage away from their homeland in search of this place they were told was called the Southern Land. Does the tomb of the boat ring a bell? Before white man came over, conquered and raped the Down Under land, a rare but odd story that was written on a stone wall that was found in the northern New South Wales region told of Egyptians had visited here, believe it or not, and built pyramids. These Egyptian-style pyramids were found somewhere in Australia, and I'm about to show you one. This is called Walsh's Pyramid. It was found by a group of amateur archaeologists who discovered this strange but interesting stylized mountain peak. It is 30 minutes west of coastal city of Cairns. It is situated in the, I'll try and pronounce this correctly, Wooroonuran National Park. It stands at 922 meters tall and it is covered under thick layers of vegetation and soil. And it has a natural, this is what they found, it has a natural granite peak. The date of this pyramid, you wouldn't believe, is 5,000 years old. Can you believe it? This pyramid in my state, which is about a 2.5 day drive from here, is actually a pyramid. I might give you a little clue. See this side here? That looks like a ridge, but it's quite perfect. It's quite linear, don't you think? I'm going to show you another photo. This is an old photo of a built pyramid that was discovered during a routine flight in farming township called Gympie in northern Queensland. The story goes that the two Egyptian sailors built two pyramids. So this is a very old photo of the first pyramid that was discovered in the township of Gympie. And as you can see, it's missing the top half of this pyramid. It only shows the bottom half. What I find quite interesting about this pyramid, it looks very precise the way it's built. Unfortunately, it's very grainy, this photo, but it looks like stone. It may be granite, but it looks neatly stacked, one on top of the other, the way it's layered. Unfortunately, I don't know what it looks like on the very top because there's a bit of a sad ending to this pyramid. And I'll show you another photo. This is a Gympie Pyramid, another one, situated in the Rockhampton region, just outside of Gympie. And as you can see today, it's covered in thick vegetation. There is a summit, if you dare yourself to climb up there. And as you can see, if you look at the sides, they look pretty linear. Here's the story. Mr. Gilroy, in 1975, as part of a routine flight overlooking for unnatural terrain, as part of his research expedition, discovered the Gympie Pyramid, not just the previous one, also this one. He measured it at 200 feet and had 18 terraces. There were blue stone pillars, yes, blue stone pillars on the summit, but have been later discarded and neglected. Mr. Gilroy has souvenired a few of these stone carvings before vandals would get to them. The one in the old photo, unfortunately, has been demolished, and the other is supposedly hidden somewhere from plain sight. Well, according to this photo, I don't think so. To date, no excavations have been made due to lack of, or rather absolute no funding support for this archaeological discovery, and that's very sad to know, especially when you got a lot of government bureaucrat red tape interfering with funding for these type of finds. Now, I'm going to show you something else. This is, as you can see, a hieroglyph. These hieroglyphs were found in Gosford. They are called the Gosford glyphs. It's situated just 1 and 15-minute hour drive north of Sydney, New South Wales. This, as you can see, I'll let you guess for yourself. Here's another one. According to a few archaeologists who have recently studied these writings, as you can see in this photograph, say that these stone carvings were done by the very Egyptian sailors who sailed across the Indian Ocean and landed along the coastal shores just north of Sydney. And they also went across the Pacific Ocean too, so don't forget that. They were identified by a hieroglyph interpreter that they were the two royal princes, supposedly, who were the sons of Khufu, were stranded on this great southern land, and they got lost through thick jungle-like vines of bush scrub. One of them died, the other survived and was adopted into an Aboriginal tribe. This Aboriginal tribe lived around the Gosford region and carved this legend in stone. Get this, the date of this stone, this writing, is about 5,000 years old. How can it be possible? Was it really them that carved this writing on the wall? Or was it somebody else? I'm going to show you another photograph. Does this writing tell you that's the story? Or is it depicting something else? I think, according to the writing on the wall, it's saying something entirely different. Very, very different, don't you think? Now, if you believe, and if you don't believe, that's okay. Go ahead and do some research for yourself. Because look what else I found. This is a top view, satellite view of a pyramid discovered somewhere in an undisclosed location in northern New South Wales. It's a pyramid. Does it look to you to be a pyramid? Here, 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 and here, and the apex part. Does it look like a pyramid to you? Let me elaborate a little bit further. Other pyramids down under the Nullarbor Plains, local Aborigines said it's bad luck to talk about it, as it's not part of the Dreamtime, so they say. It was made of stone and buried, so you can't locate it on Google Earth, and it was discovered by a surveyor named Len Beadle, and that's in the Nullarbor Plains. If anyone can find it on Google Maps and can pinpoint exactly where it is, please leave it in the comment section, because I would love to get a photo of it. Recently, a passenger flying across Central Australia saw a pyramid north of Alice Springs, somewhere in the middle of the desert. Gee, it's like a needle in a haystack. Also, a satellite image of an unusual shaped pyramid was discovered in the northern parts of South Australia, and I got a photo. See this? Now, does it look like a pyramid to you? There's no apex, there's no top half, you just see the bottom half and just the side walling of it here. Is it made of stone? Is it made of granite? I don't know, but someone posted this online and said this was a pyramid that was built somewhere in South Australia. If anybody can guess where it's located, please let me know in the comments section. There is a mythical story that depicts of the legendary King Solomon's mines, and I'm sure you've all read about it. The story doesn't tell you exactly where this mine was located, nor did it have any association with King Solomon himself. Or did it? The story goes that the King Solomon's mined gold in a very far away place that was unheard of during the ancient times. The reason was the king himself was in desperate need to create death masks for his funerary afterlife, including other kings after him. So they found a place that contained a shit ton of gold. Now, where do you think on this planet that would contain lots and lots of this shining little ore that has a little glint and sparkle in your eye? Where do you think on Earth that has a ton of gold as described? Try Australia. I'll show you. This is a gold mine. It's an open mine situated somewhere in Western Australia. And of course, we've got a lot of gold here. Yes, we do. Only discovered gold. Apparently, the world's gold fits underneath the bottom part of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, or if it's a 50-meter Olympic swimming pool. That's how much gold there is in the world. But here in Australia, we do have a lot of gold, especially in parts of Northern Territory, Queensland, Victoria, Tasmania, and South Australia. So these are the very few gold mines that are still in operation. In the Old Testament of the Bible suggests an odd name. They wrote, and I'm going to spell it, Ophri. It's pronounced Ophir. No, not Oprah. Don't relate it to the TV show host, Oprah. No, it's Ophir. Unfortunately, the exact location was never revealed. The story goes that Solomon, whilst doing a collaborating deal with Phoenician King Himran of Tyre, which is today's Lebanon, dispatched expeditions of the Phoenician mariners in search of gold in the land called Ophir. Now, I want you to compare, have a look at this picture, compare this gold mine to this ancient gold mine. This is a supposed King Solomon's mine. It is situated in Tiamar Valley, Arava Desert in Israel. They only found in this mine copper, zinc, and possibly some bits of silver, but no gold. So this is supposedly one of King Solomon's mines. Now I'll show you a photo of the very king himself, King Himram. This is just an illustration just to depict what he looked like back then. And as you can see, he is crowned with majestic layers of gold on his head. Ophir could suggest Northern Africa, South Africa, or parts of Australia, such as New South Wales, Victoria, Western Australia, and Queensland. The Phoenicians' maritime traders and merchants, according to Herodotus, said a Phoenician expedition commissioned by King Necho II of Egypt circumnavigated Africa for 3 years. Now, how interesting is that during Herodotus' time? Now, this is what a Phoenician mariner ship looks like, okay? They weren't incredibly huge. They weren't the size of Titanic, but nevertheless, they built them strong enough to make the long voyages. And here's another photo just depicting how they looked back then and how big they were built in order to accommodate the crew, equipment, supplies, etc. And as you can see at the top here, they had sails as well. Now, how did they know to pinpoint locations across the globe using, say, for example, celestial mapping? How interesting. Did the Phoenicians use celestial mapping that back then in order to do a chart, a sea voyage chart, to map out exactly where they were going to go to do their trading? It's very interesting to find out. But Australia, during Phoenician time and before them, was never mentioned as Ophir, as it was a virgin continent back then. Until recently, I'm talking about 260 years ago, thousands of years later, our country was raped and pillaged by the white, obtuse and asinine settlers. How sad. Now, this is an ocean currents and sea ice map. Now, as you can see here, where the blue arrows are pointing, that's telling you around the equatorial circumference of the ocean graph where the trade winds are heading. And as you can see, they're heading towards left, not right, they're heading towards left. So they're going across the Indian Ocean, then they go across to the Pacific Ocean, and then they repeat the same pattern again. So I believe, if this was plausible, I believe that here in Egypt, the two royal princes may have decided, okay, we're going to see what's out there stuff. We're going to go and find other continents around the world to rule, divide, and conquer. And so under the funding of King Khufu, they decided, okay, we've got ourselves a ship, let's go, pack our supplies, bring our crew, well, the crew was only 2 of them, and set sail on a very long, arduous, and very dangerous voyage. Now, I'm not sure if they had knowledge of sea currents, tides, weather, or anything else for that matter, but they just dared themselves to plan a very spontaneous voyage. So as you can see, they would have gone through here, parts of northern Africa, then they went to the southern coast of Africa, past Madagascar, and then they went here through this part of the ocean, then they went along the southern end of South America, then they went on a long, dangerous and isolated voyage along the Pacific Ocean, and then they would have came across New Zealand, and after New Zealand they would have found New South Wales, so that they would have settled along the coastal region where Gosford is today. So that's around here. Quite a dangerous voyage, may I say. Very courageous to do something that daring back then, if it was true. Now, I'm going to show you something else. I've shown you this chart in my previous video on the age of the extinct volcanoes on Rapa Nui, and that goes hand in hand with the age of the built Easter Island statues. This is the volcanic hotspot chart, and as you can see here, where the red dots are indicate a lot of volcanic activity that's still current. The hotspots depict where they are on the ocean, underneath the ocean floor mostly, and whether some volcanoes are active or extinct. Now, what's interesting is that there's a thing called the Ring of Fire, where it goes along the Indian Ocean, then to the Pacific Ocean, and it goes around this region here, this part of the planet. And that tells you there's a lot of underwater volcanic eruption happening as we speak, which causes seismic activity such as the tectonic plates moving and causing earthquakes and tsunamis. However, if you have a look where the pyramids were built, mostly around the equatorial layer of the planet. And as you can see here, they must have built the pyramids where there was less seismic activity, including the volcanic hotspots. So they must have been very aware where they were situated and pinpointed them before they arrived and commenced the building project. I'm going to show you something else. Have a look at this. Mexico, Egypt, and Indonesia. The 3 stars indicating where they are situated. And as you can see, it is around the circumference equatorial area of the planet. And they did not build them where there is seismic activity. That is very interesting, and that explains why they're still standing today. That is quite remarkable, knowing that. How they knew, I don't know, but that is really remarkable. Rumor has it, circulating amongst the archaeologist gossip circle in this country, a theory, a plausible yet unsubstantiated theory, that there are burials on the pyramids, ? Until this day, no one knows for what true purpose these recently discovered pyramids were built for. I'm talking about here. Were they built as an observatory, a ritual function, connection with the stars, connections with the ancients? I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about the ones out there. Did the ancients settle on the land called down under and made a home for themselves to do their reconnaissance research? ? That deserves further investigating. Now, this is a chart of the pyramid structures around the world, as you know and have seen for yourself. Now, What's interesting is, do you see the Gympie Pyramid in this chart? Do you see the pyramid in South Australia in this chart? No. It is, even though it's a recently discovered find, they haven't acknowledged it that it's an actual Egyptian styled designed pyramid. Why not? So, I would like to know if our pyramids do correlate with these pyramids. You do have to wonder. And get this, the Gympie Pyramid, for example, sits on a ley line, an energy line, and the Aborigines don't want to set foot near it. No, they won't. Why? Because every time they do, they come away feeling sick afterwards. And I'll show you what I mean. This is a map, a world map of where the ley lines are, as you can see. I'm going to point to you one ley line. See this yellow line pointing directly towards here, Australia, going across Australia? Well, as you can see, it's going across the southern part of Queensland. Now, I'm going to show you a closer look, give you a closer look of the next map. So as you can see, there's a ley line in Uluru, and there's a ley line here in southern parts of Western Australia. I'm going to go further. Okay, see this? A ley line here, a ley line there, a ley line here, just north of Brisbane. So we're talking about an hour or two drive. So if you go past the Sunshine Coast, heading up towards Rockhampton, and in between those two locations, that's where you find Gympie, and that's where the pyramids are located. And supposedly they were built because the ley lines run across that region. The ley lines represent song lines, Aboriginal song lines, energy lines. Now, we don't know why they built the pyramids to correlate with the ley lines. The Aborigines knew about the song lines for 70,000 years, but they're not going to tell you the real reason why they know about the song lines. Some of them will tell you now, but others won't tell you. This is like a well-kept secret. But the way I said, according to this map and this map, I think these ley lines are more communication lines. Otherwise, why wouldn't they have built the pyramids? I'm going to let you ponder on that and that. In time, I'll be creating a series of videos incorporating the myth and legend of these discovered pyramids and uncovering the purpose for its conception, with the added bonus of the ancient beings' mysterious association of pyramid building in Australia and its alliance with Egypt. That's all for now.